Today, I'm going to explain light reflectance in Unreal's Substrate. Let's go! Okay, so we just started a brand new series of videos going over Unreal's Substrate. Last week, I showed you how to turn Substrate on in Unreal, and then I showed how to create a slab node like this one here in the material graph and plug it into the purple front material input right over here. But then we ran into an issue. The previous material system used base color, metallic, and specular, but this slab node just has diffuse albedo and F0 and F90. I showed you that it's possible to convert base color, metallic, and specular to diffuse albedo and F0 with this node here that we added last week. But today, I'm going to explain exactly what this node is and what it's doing to give you a solid understanding of what these inputs really are. So we're going to talk about diffuse albedo, F0, F90, and their relationship to base color, metallic, and specular. To help organize things in computer graphics, we split up the reflected light into two categories. First, we have light that gets scattered in all directions, and it's called diffuse light. And second, we have light that stays relatively focused instead of being scattered, and it's called specular. So what we're doing with base color, metallic, and specular, and also with diffuse albedo and F0, is determining how much of our incoming light is being reflected off of the surface, and also how much of it is diffuse light and how much of it is specular light. So let's first focus on diffuse light. The first important principle to understand is that objects that are made of metal do not reflect any diffuse light. All light reflected off the surface of a pure metal object is specular. So here we have our base color value, and since we have our metallic value set to 1 here, our base color is controlling the color of our metal. But if our metallic was set to 0, this color would be the color of our diffuse. So if we want to convert this base color to diffuse, we need it to be this color when it's not metal and black when it is metal. And we can do that with a lerp node. So let's go ahead and add a lerp node here. And we'll plug our metal value into the alpha of our lerp. And when our metallic value is 0, we're going to plug in our color here. And when our metallic value is 1, we're going to use a value of 0. So we're giving our diffuse input over here black when our metallic value is 1, and we're giving it our base color when our metallic value is 0. So if I just plug this directly into my diffuse albedo socket and I hit save, now you're going to see that we have exactly the same result. So under the hood, this node here is lerping between our base color value and 0 based on metallic. So to get our diffuse albedo coming out of here, this is all that we're doing. So under the hood, the previous material system and substrate both use the diffuse albedo as input. But the previous system has this base color thing built on top of it to sort of enforce the fact that metals need to be black in diffuse. But with substrate, we now have direct access to the diffuse albedo. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. We have more flexibility here to go outside the guardrails, but we also have to make sure we're following the rules correctly if we want physically based materials. And in this case, the rule is make it black if it's metal. All right, let's move on and talk about specular. The main thing to know about specular light is that the amount of light reflected changes based on the relationship between your point of view and the direction of the surface it's facing. So we can take a look at this illustration here that's showing us that. So if we're looking directly at the surface, we get less reflected light. And if we're looking at the surface at a glancing angle, we get more reflected light. And this property of light reflection is called the Fresnel Effect. And this is what it looks like on a sphere. We can see that the edges of the sphere are bright because the light is being more light is being reflected. And in the middle of the sphere here, where the surface is pointed directly at us, we're getting less reflected light. Here are some examples of what it looks like in real life. On the left here, we can see that water is more reflective on the horizon where we're seeing it on edge. But near the bottom of the image here, we can see that the water is see-through, and we can actually see the bottom of the lake bed instead of seeing the reflections. In this middle image here, you can see that this glossy car paint is more reflective when we're seeing it at a glancing angle here at the top of the image. But then as we come down here to the bottom of the image, we're looking more directly at the surface. You can see there's this nice gradient where the sky goes from being bright to being dark. And that's the Fresnel effect that we're seeing. And then over here on the left side, you can see that our brick ground surface here is being reflected on this nice shiny black wall. And the reflections are brighter at glancing angles here. But then as we look at the surface more directly, our reflections fade and get darker here. So in computer graphics, we control this effect by defining 2 points, F0 and F90, and then calculating the values in between them. F0 is the point where our view angle and the surface direction match, and the F here stands for Fresnel. And F90 is the point where there's a 90-degree offset between our view angle and the surface. So we need to define how much light is reflected at these 2 points. We're going to leave F90 alone for now because it's almost always 100%. In Unreal, that's what it defaults to. So if we leave it disconnected, it will get a value of 100%, which will give us the correct result. So with this in mind, let's switch back to Unreal. For F0, we need to know how reflective the surface is, or what percentage of the light gets reflected when we're staring straight at the surface. Now, almost all non-metal surfaces are between 2 and 8% reflective, with the majority being right around 4%. In Unreal, instead of percentages, we're using values between 0 and 1. So if we pass a value of 0.04, like this, into our F0 pin, we'll get a surface that has about 4% reflection, which is perfect for non-metals. So here you can see when I've passed 0.04 into my material has gone completely black. And the reason that it's black is because of what we're doing with our diffuse here. We've told it that our surface is metallic, and when it's metallic, we're passing a diffuse value of 0 in there. So let's go ahead for now and just tell it that it's non-metallic. And now we're going to get a surface that looks plasticky. We've told it that our reflectance is 0.04. And here you can see a really good illustration of the Fresnel effect working. Our surface is nice and reflective right here around the edges, but here in the middle, we don't see reflection. So we're getting 100% reflectance here on the edge and 0.04 or 4% reflective here in the middle. And so here it's important for me to point out that we don't actually need to calculate the Fresnel effect in our graph. Unreal does have a node here that's called Fresnel that will calculate the actual fall off between F0 and F90, but we don't need to use this in our graph to create this effect because Unreal is already doing it for us inside the slab node. All we need to do is provide the F0 value, the reflectivity when we're looking straight at the surface, and the F90 value for the reflectivity on the edges. And then it will actually calculate this Fresnel for us under the hood. So we don't need that node at all. All right, so if we want to use metallic values, right now we're passing a value of 0.04 into our F0. But metal surfaces are actually significantly more reflective than this. Metal surfaces reflect between about 60 and 100% of the light that hits them as specular, not as diffuse, as specular. And so if we want to create a metal surface, instead of passing 0.04 into our F0, let's go ahead and disconnect these. If we want to create a metal surface, we can take our metal value here and just pass it directly in. And now when we save our material, now you can see that we've got something that's significantly more metallic looking because we're using these values here. This is the metallic value for gold. We've got 1, 0.7, and 0.3. Now our 0.3 value is a little bit low for metals, but because this metal is colored, it just is important that its average value here is above 0.6 or 60%. So we've been able to tint our surface metallic and get that metallic look. So let's think about what our substrate metalness to diffuse albedo node is doing in order to calculate our F90 or our F0 value. So before we do that, it's important to understand what this specular value over here means. In the previous model, we had this specular input, and it was only used for non-metals. If your surface was metal, the specular input would be completely ignored. And if it was non-metal, generally you would give it a value around 0.5. Well, how does that translate to an F0 value? F0 values are for non-metals, they're between 0 and 0.08. And so if we want to convert our specular value to an F0 value, we need to add a multiply node and multiply it by 0.08. Oh, 0.08. And what this is going to do is our default value for specular is 0.5. And multiplying 0.5 by 0.08 is going to give us 0.04, which is 4% reflectance, which is exactly what we want for non-metallic surfaces. And so now we've converted our specular value here into an F0 value. And now what we need to do, just like we did here with our diffuse, we need to add another lerp node. And we need to lerp between this non-metallic F0 value and our metallic F0 value, which is our color, based on our metalness value. So if our surface is metal, we're using our color for F0. And if it's not metal, we're using our specular value here for F0. So now we can wire this into F0. And when we hit save, since our metallic value is set to 0, we get something that looks like plastic. And if we set our metallic value to 1, now we get something that looks like metal. So if your question is, what is this substrate metalness to diffuse albedo node doing under the hood? It's doing exactly this. For Diffuse Albedo, it's blending between our base color and 0 based on our metalness value. And for our F90 value, or our specular reflectance, it's blending between our non-metallic specular value here multiplied by 0.08 and our base color here based on our metalness. And just like with diffuse, you can see that the base color metalness workflow that we were using before kind of has these guardrails here, and it's forcing our non-metallic values to be somewhere below 0.08. Under the hood, both the previous material system and substrate were both using the F0, F90 inputs, but the previous system had these guardrails built on top of it to enforce the fact that metal colors had 0 diffuse, and that non-metal materials had very low specular reflectance. So with substrate, these guardrails are removed, and you're free to pass whatever you want into F0 and Diffuse Albedo. Now this gives you more flexibility, but it means that you also have to be careful to follow the rules in order to get accurate results. And in this case, the rule for Diffuse Albedo is that metals are black, and the rule for F0 is that non-metals use values somewhere below 0.08. So that is how substrate works, at least for light reflectance. There are a lot of other inputs over here that we're going to get to in future videos, but for today, that is how to understand Diffuse Albedo, F0, and F90. And that's how they translate from the previous system of base color, specular, and metalness. Hope this video has been helpful. I wanted to get kind of a low-level explanation of what all of these inputs mean so that you would know exactly what to feed into these values, and so you wouldn't have to rely directly on nodes like this to convert things and just wonder, I wonder what that node is doing, you know? Now you have a good understanding of how base color, metallic, specular translate into Diffuse Albedo and F0. And I really hope this helps. Let me know down in the comments if you learned something and if you appreciated this. And, well, be sure to come back next week. We're going to continue going in a deep dive over all of these inputs in our substrate slab here, so you'll have a strong understanding of what to pass into these input ports in order to get good material results. All right, that's it. Have a great week, everybody.